Can an introvert be good at sales? Most people think you have to be an extrovert to succeed in sales, but nothing could be further from the truth. In this video, I'm going to share with you exactly what you need to be doing if you're an introvert to become the best salesperson in your company. The stereotype out there is that as a successful salesperson, you need to be an extrovert. You need to shake hands, kiss babies, be everywhere all the time, and so on. And while that might be true in a few different areas where you actually have to go and be in crowds of people all the time, it is not true for most of the sales jobs out there. As a matter of fact, most people don't actually like that boisterous, in-your-face salesperson that is super kind of like wants to be your buddy even though you barely know him and so on. Instead, at the end of this video, you will know exactly what are the character traits and what are the best tips on how to be an amazing salesperson even if you're an introvert, because you actually have an advantage over the extroverts. So most people don't like sales. When you hear sales, what you think in your mind is the cold call that comes in where somebody wants to slam you into something, or the used car sales dealership where they walk out and try to squeeze you and try to manipulate you into any kind of vehicle on there, whether you like it or not. So basically sales is associated out there with intruding, with pitching, with manipulating, with pushing, with hard closing, and all those kind of things. When in reality, the best salespeople actually have traits that are absolutely the exact opposite. A great salesperson is really good at one-on-one conversations, is really good at listening, is really good at nurturing, is really good at building trust between you and them, is really good at researching what your needs are and providing you with the exact solution that actually meets your needs. And if you listen to that, doesn't that sound like the typical traits of an introvert? An introvert is not out there boistering and running around everywhere. Instead, an introvert is somebody who is really good in one-on-one situations. An introvert is somebody who's really good at listening. An introvert is somebody really good at meaningful conversations. An introvert is somebody really good at actually building a one-to-one connection. And those are all critical criteria of becoming great salespeople. Also, doing research about a solution for your customer requires spending time alone on the online web, on searching for solutions, searching for things, looking through a product catalog, coming up with designs and things like that. All of those are things introverts are better at. By the way, there's also a big misconception. People think introverts don't like people. It's actually not true. Introverts just don't get energy from being with other people. So what happens is an extrovert goes, the more people they meet, the more energy they charge. So an extrovert naturally wants to be out there at parties and events and things all day long, because when they come back home with more energy than they left. An introvert goes into that environment and the introvert comes back completely drained. However, if an introvert has a chance for a meaningful one-on-one conversation, that charges the introvert. The introvert has very few friends, but those are very deep friendships. So therefore an introvert is really made for a one-on-one complex sales conversation that is not just, hey, I want to buy this car, which car do you want? This one, and here's the benefits of it. No, an introvert is perfect for a situation where they spend time with somebody, have meaningful conversations, really dig into their history, dig into what their needs are, digging into their life wishes, and really building a truthful connection with that person. And based on that, they're building tremendous amount of trust. That level of trust that an extrovert would never be able to build, just because by sheer nature an extrovert comes across like this butterfly jumping from flower to flower and being like superficial everywhere around, but nowhere in any kind of depth. And then at the end of the day, the best salespeople don't pitch somebody into a product. The best salespeople don't squeeze somebody into a product. The best salespeople don't hard close somebody into something they didn't even want. The best salespeople are the ones that truly understand the customer's needs, come up with a perfect solution, and then basically have the customer simply say, oh my God, this is exactly what I wanted. And as a result, introverts are just much better at that. The only thing introverts need to get over is the fact that they might be talking to 10 or 15 or 20 or 30 different people in a day if they're in a telephone environment. So that's why if there's one distinction I want to make is that introverts are probably better in more complicated sales structures where they have to create custom solutions for their customers, and extroverts are probably better in environments where it's a mass sale kind of environment. That's about it. Other than that, introverts are better from a skill set point of view. Now with that said, before you leave, I actually have 8 tips for you, so make sure you subscribe, make sure you follow us. But right now I have 8 extra tips for you on how you can become an even better salesperson, whether you're introvert or extrovert. Tip number 1, leverage your soft skills. In other words, really practice getting deep with your customer. Really practice building that truthful connection. Because when you accomplish that, that customer won't ever go anywhere else. They will truly trust you, they will stay with you, they will take your advice because they know that you have the best in mind for them. Tip number 2, focus on more one-on-one conversations. I already mentioned it before, but that is your strength. Right? As an introvert, you know that you can't handle 20 people around you. It drains you. Make that your specialty because you have a natural tendency towards it anyway. Tip number 3, if you can, stay away from cold calling. Cold calling is not an introvert's favorite thing to do. You talk to people you never talked to before, you get hung up on, they're often rude, you don't have time for a deep development of any things that I just said right now already. You don't have time to develop that deep relationship in any shape or form. It's just a nightmare for introverts. Stay away from it. Tip number 4, allow plenty of time for research. Again, introverts are best in more complex kind of sales situations. Like perhaps you are a software solution provider and you go to the customer site and work with them for several days even on a set of criteria and a set of solutions, and you develop a clear solution package for them. That's your strength. That's a little bit more longer term sales strategy that allows you to actually build that personal relationship. Plus, doing the research won't bother you because you love being alone, you don't mind being alone. Too many people around you bother you anyway, so therefore, this sounds like a great kind of tip. Tip number 5, use a great CRM. Because a CRM is a customer relationship management software or sales management software because it allows you to automate a lot of things that otherwise would require additional human interactions. And as an introvert, you want to minimize those anyway. Tip number 6, introverts often get anxiety when they go out there in larger groups of people. So if your job does include that, then make sure you practice so that you're absolutely confident in yourself, that you know you can defend yourself, you can have that, if necessary, little bit of small talk here and there, even though you don't like it, and you know your stuff down cold, so you can go into any situation and just, even though you're anxious about the social environment, you know that you got your stuff down so cold that nothing will faze you in that environment. Tip number 7, don't forget about your prospect's emotion. As an introvert, you want to make a deeply connection, but at the same time, remember that the buyers typically buy on emotion and then justify it with rationality. So being an introvert or an extrovert has nothing to do with you whether being an emotional or non-emotional person. So if you're a non-emotional introvert, then you just like to state facts and keep it to that. But you need to learn how to also actually do an emotional pitch. How to get yourself out there, put yourself out there, use the emotional triggers and get that customer to see why they emotionally need to buy this product. Because everyone buys emotionally and then justifies it with logic. And then tip number 8, give yourself time to recharge. Again, no matter which way you do this, as an introvert, if you're in social environments, you will lose energy from it. And that's not a problem as long as you, on the side, put together a clear schedule for you to recharge, whatever that might mean. You might go to yoga, you might do meditations, you might just take a nap, you might just, whatever it is that you do, you know it best what it does for you. Recharge, fill up that tank again, and you're ready to go do it again. So, if you enjoyed that, and if you want to know how to use your own skills in order to build a successful business and in order to go and perhaps build wealth, whether it's an employee or not, then I have a surprise for you. I've written a book called Forever Cash, which really shows my wife, who is also an introvert, and myself, how we have built up a 9-figure empire and how you can do the same thing, even if you or your partner are an introvert. All you simply need to do is go to www.freelandbook.com and download a copy right now. All right, see you at the next video.